It's salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and before we get into the topic, I just quickly want to thank everybody. I put a little shout out for the channel yesterday. We had like 200 subscribers overnight. We're 800 away from 25k, which is ridiculous. And yes, the Zeddy documentary series will come out. I have the topic, I have everything planned and lined up, and I'm really excited when we hit that milestone to get it out there. But anyways, today's video is going to be about the classic mode, which was launched just a few weeks ago, late March, and wanted to give you my kind of review on the whole thing. I've played it a lot. I've gone through a lot of people's reactions to it and seeing how it's going, and I wanted to determine whether it's been a success or a failure, the good, the bad of it, and maybe what could be improved, what I'd like to see change, and then to give you my overall assessment. So let's take a look at Classic. So what exactly is Classic mode? Well, basically, it's just that. It's old school Hearthstone, day one launch. You got 5 mana Gadget and Auctioneer, you got 4 mana Leroy, you got like 2 mana Starving Buzzard, which has been reverted, but regardless, you got everything in its original state, not like the beta stuff for like 8 mana Mind Control, nothing like that. But yeah, it's basically that, and then you can just play your old Classic cards there and go at it, and it's got its own ladder, and you can tell here from the Legend leaderboards this month, there's like 30 or so people have already hit Legend this month, so people are getting there. I'm personally Diamond 5, as you could see in the opening of the video. Hit Diamond 5, hoping to get Legend in the next little bit. Maybe we'll highlight that in a video, I'm not sure, but I'm having fun with it. I think it's really cool, and I wanted to go over the pros of the mode so far. So for me, it's been nice to go back to a mode that has like no card generation. Discover is not a thing. There's no real way of adding cards to your hand other than playing Ysera and getting like dream cards or getting bananas from a Mukla, something like that. Like there's not a lot of card generation, so that's kind of refreshing. It's nice to get away from, you know, where Hearthstone is today with all the created by and all that. It's a nice change. The RNG is minimal. It's minimal RNG compared to like Hearthstone today. You don't have a deck of Lunacy, but you do have like Ragnaros, you have Brawl, Animal Companion, Knife Juggler, Mind Control Tech. You have cards like that, right? And those were the RNG cards, and they could be infuriating, they could be frustrating, but also a lot of fun and lead to those crazy experiences in the game. You don't have Demon Hunter. For a lot of people that really can't stand Demon Hunter since it's been introduced to the game, you can't have it. Outside of that little exploit for like a day or two that people figured out how to bring Demon Hunter into Classic, I'll just show you a screenshot. Yes, that did happen, but you could only use neutral cards. It was still okay. People put like Molten Giants and stuff and could win games. It wasn't great, but yeah, no Demon Hunter in Classic, so you can get away from that class if you really hate it. You know what to expect when you go into the mode. You basically know what you expect from your opponent. You can play around what they have. You can play around specific damage. Like I'm facing Miracle Rogue, which I was playing in the intro. You know, I know to play around Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, Eviscerate, Cold Blood, right? Like they can't generate more damage. You know what to play around. And I guess lastly, one of the big pros is basically every class. If you look at like this meta breakdown, the HS Replay does have stats, which we didn't have back in the day on all this, of what classes are doing well. And like Druid's performing the best, but overall, pretty much every class has performed, you know, to a decent extent, except for Priest. Priest is awful, and I do take a little bit of joy in that, but at the same time, you know, it'd be nice if every class was playable. So yeah, Priest is pretty rough. They're like control, inner fire stuff, just it's not very good. And but like just let's go through a quick rundown of the classes, like what you can play. Like Druid, you have combo Druid, basically it, you know, Force of Nature, Savage Roar. You can play like a big Druid type of archetype. Warriors like Control Warrior, or you could play like Raging Worgen OTK Warrior. Warlock has Zoo and Handlock, both very good decks. Rogue is, you got aggro Rogue as well as Miracle Rogue. Shaman, you have like mid-range Shaman. You also have like aggro Doomhammer Shaman. Hunter is Face Hunter. You have like a mid-range Beast Hunter as well. Paladin, you have like Heal Paladin, and there's also like this aggro Paladin list running out there. And Freeze Mage has like a Tempo Mage list, aggro type list, and then Freeze Mage, and then there's Priest, which has really nothing. But yeah, like every deck class is like 1 or 2 decks, and it's just a lot of fun. So what are the cons of the mode? What's been like kind of sour for me? For me, the games are quite short. The games are over really fast. That could be a good thing for you. For me, I like a bit more longer games, and you know, a lot of the decks, there's just so many charge minions and all this stuff. There's so much damage from out of hand in old Hearthstone that the games are really, they're done and over quick, and it makes you feel like a lot of times you didn't have a big say in what was going on. That's to another point, is it's a very much a snowball meta. It's very hard to recover if you fall behind, unless you're playing like a control warrior with Brawl, or you have some miracle turn in Rogue. It's very difficult to come back. And you can find that kind of frustrating, where a game is over effectively on turn 1 or 2, depending on like what somebody does. Like a druid innervates a Yeti, you're kind of done a lot of the time. Or, you know, a Zulok has Flame Imp into Voidwalker and you don't have a play, you're just done. So it's a very, very snowball meta, and it can lead to frustration in not being able to come back. The charge problem back in the day, Leroy in like every deck. Leroy Jenkins is like in almost every single deck. Hell, even Handlock runs it as like a finisher. And yeah, basically every deck seems to have like 14, 16, 18 damage from in hand at any given time after like 7 or 8 mana crystals. And that can be, again, pretty frustrating because there's no counterplay. The taunt minions you have available to you are pretty bad. You don't have a dirty rat. You barely have healing. Mage is like ice block, but again, classic Hearthstone was very much a bit of a frustration that way, that there was so much charge, and like the aggro minions, like a leper gnome, like is pushes 4 damage almost every time, and that's just on a 1-drop. So the damage output really high, and the games are really high octane. And I guess my biggest problem with classic mode, and this is aside from gameplay or anything, is that apparently you cannot use your core set cards if you don't own the classic card in classic mode. Let's say you don't own Auctioneer and you get Auctioneer in the core set, you can't use your core set Auctioneer in classic mode. I think that's really lame. They're like paywalling classic unnecessarily in that way. I'm not a fan of that. Like, we want people to play this mode. You're giving them the core set cards for free, but you're not letting them use it in all the modes. I don't like that at all. I don't like them trying to like gouge people to buy classic packs if they don't have it. I think it'd be nicer if people just could use their core set cards. And yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that practice. And I thought I had the understanding that you could use them in the in classic, but I guess I was wrong. And yeah, that just really sucks. So what would I like to see change in classic mode besides, you know, letting people use their core set cards? I would like to see updates to classic. Not now. I'm fine with this classic meta now. We can enjoy it for a while, but I think it'd be really cool if they would update classic like every expansion cycle, or maybe like every mini set cycle. So like the mini set comes out, they'll update it with like the first balance patch that happened during classic or something. Happened during like the first classic, you know, experience, where I guess Auctioneer would go to 6 mana and Leroy would go to 5 mana. You know, you could do that the mini set. And the next expansion, you could, you know, put Nax Ramus into the game, and then you can relive that meta. Because I would love to relive like Grim Patron meta, or like Mech Mage meta, or whatever, like all these old decks of, you know, that I would like to go back and try, because you can't do that in Wild. We all know that, despite the fact that Wild's supposed to be a place to play the decks of old. Anyways, I think it would be kind of cool if they would update it like maybe every couple months or every expansion cycle, and, you know, relive a new classic meta. And you could always go back. You could take Nax Ramus out and just go back to classic for a bit or whatever. They could spice it up, and I know they're open to it. I know this is not like an impossible thing. They've mentioned they're open to it, so I would like to see that. But again, I don't want any changes now. I'm enjoying the meta as it is. I kind of wish they would rework the ranking system to look like classic Hearthstone. If you're not aware, before we had this whole ranking system we have today, it was going from rank 25 to legend. You had to go through 25 ranks all the way up to legend, and you know, that was its own different experience. And you had like a star bonus up until like rank 5 primarily, and there were no rank floors. You could go all the way from legend back to rank 20. 20 was like the only real rank floor, and I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to go down that road. It's probably not practical. It's probably not worth like reworking their MMR and all this stuff just to have that classic feel, but it's a pipe dream, and I think it would be kind of cool. I'd like to see them add the story emote. I mean, the story emote was available in Classic. Why can't we have it in Classic? It's in the game. If you play Noggin Fogger and you start emoting, there's a story emote. It's there. Why not throw it into Classic? It would be a nice Classic touch. And lastly, I'd like to see a card back for getting Legend in Classic. Same as Wild. We don't have one in Wild. I'd love to see it there too. But I don't know, why not give us that card back? All you got to do is add like the classic little logo to the current Legend card back. It wouldn't be much. It'd be a nice touch and get people to play. So overall, my review of Classic mode is a success, or or a failure. I think it's a success. It's a mode they basically pushed out, you know, pretty low effort. They didn't have to put a lot into it. Just a nice alternative. If you're bored of standard or wild or arena or duels or whatever, battlegrounds is something else to play. Minimal updates required. It's just fun. It's cool. The layout of it looks good. I've been a big fan of it. It's been really nice. Like, I've been playing off stream while I'm like editing. I'll probably be playing while I'm editing this very video, and it's just nice to be able to do that. Can I play it for hours and hours at a time? Not really. It gets pretty dry pretty quickly, but that's why we have all these other modes. That's why there's all this other stuff to do. So I give it a big thumbs up. I've been a really big fan of Classic, and I do hope, and I am excited to see when it gets updated, and maybe I could play my Nax cards or GVG or Blackrock Mountain. That'd be a lot of fun. So let me know in the comments below what you've been enjoying about Classic, what you'd like to see improved about Classic. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.